Hey guys, live narration time, and this is my third live narration of the day, and this is one that was not scheduled. We're still here on Sunday night. Normally, the next round wouldn't have even started yet, but this is round 5 content between ABR and the real UD. This is a lower bracket match. There's only 4 matches in this whole round. This is one of them. ABR, as you may have seen, did get knocked down here by Roro. He was in the winner's bracket last round. As was UD, actually. UD got knocked down by Ban Manaphy. And here they are. All of a sudden, these two guys, who were both winners just one round to go, are now facing elimination as they face each other. And I didn't have time because, like I said, this is still Sunday night. We haven't even gotten to Monday yet. These guys are not wasting any time. I didn't really have time to dig up the history between these two players, but I do believe they played against each other in one of the previous Callus Invitationals. I don't remember which one. I don't remember who won, but if memory serves correctly, they did play against each other at least one time before. But whatever with that, like I said, I didn't have time to dig through and figure out the history and all that good stuff. What I do know is that they're both playing right now for their tournament lives. They were both winners, and now they are both in the lower bracket fighting to stay alive. ABR was on the bottom, the real UD, he's on the top. Looks like a fairly standard TSS for ABR. Less clear what UD's got. He's got a Wheezing, which is a poke that I know he likes more than most people. He used that against me in SPL, actually, several years ago, and I've seen him use it a couple other times as well. UD does often like these, or used to like anyway, back when he was kind of going through a phase. He liked these random boom spammy mixed offenses here, and that very well may be what we're looking at here. Maybe booming down to last poke whatever, Tarkun, Raikou, whatever weird sweeper he feels like running, Salamence. Blissey has to be careful here. She can't one-hit KO Weezing without like a Fire Blast crit or something like that. But she can get into some trouble. Ice Beam there would have done a decent chunk, I would say. But Pain Split is dangerous. Obviously, Explosion is dangerous. I don't know. Weezing's a tricky poke to play against, and it definitely the very best matchup for Weezing is absolutely against this kind of team. Against Stally TSS reactive teams, Weezing's a fucking prick. It's not so hot against offense. Will-O-Wisp is just a great move against offense, but Weezing does not take special hits well, and it doesn't have special resistances either. So just basic Surf, Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, whatever. He doesn't resist any of that, and he just doesn't take it very well. So he's not so hot against really aggressive teams. But against something like this from ABR, the Weezing might end up being good. Right now we have two metas battling it out. One's physical, one's mixed. Hidden Power Fire there. It's going to hit the lead T-Tar. Would have been awesome for UD if he could have predicted and gotten Meteor Mash there and clocked it. But not able to pull the trigger. He went for the killing blow. And T-Tar is going to outspeed Metagross, which I guess makes sense because mixed meta often runs minus speed nature. It doesn't have to if you want to retain speed for certain matchups. You can go like minus special defense or something, which blows, but like, I don't know, there's situations like this where if he had been faster in the tower, maybe getting the Meteor Mash off there or the Boom or whatever would have been really important. So it's a trade-off. It's a give and take. But he was probably minus speed nature, as most of them are. He got outsped by T-Tar. Flamethrower took him out. And the first knockout of the series, and it is still best of 3 in this round, by the way, if anybody's confused. It is still best of 3, and the first knockout of this series goes the way of ABR. To which UD is so mad, so upset, so raging that he disconnects. Fuck this. I can't believe you used a T-Tower with Flamethrower. This is horseshit. I'm out of here. Pretty much the exact words that went through UD's mind. In the meantime, good old live narrations, killing time. See, this is one of the beauties of replay. This could take 3 minutes in real time, but in the replay, you wouldn't even know that he disconnected. He just came right on back and things picked up as normal. We will wait for him to respond to this. When he does, let's see. It's hard to know what he would do here because he's got 3 unrevealeds. Normally, Swampert, a great counter to Tyranitar, but this guy has Flamethrower, so he very well may have HP Grass. Very high chance of that, in fact. We might be looking at a Crunch Pursuit user. It could be a weird, like, Flamethrower HP Grass sub-Focus Punch set, something like that. This is going to be really awkward if UD times out completely because ABR has the lead here. Obviously, it might be difficult to try to recreate this game, which is something that in general I'm just not really a big fan of doing, but giving UD a game loss on turn 10 when the outcome is clearly not decided is pretty shitty. Here's the reconnect for UD. Hopefully his internet is stable and this is not going to be a further issue as we go. His timer is still ticking down. Hopefully he's not insanely lagging and not able to do anything here. I may have to step in live, you guys might see. I may have to intervene live and have somebody turn off the timer if need be. I hope it doesn't come to that. That'd be an awkward thing to have to deal with in a live narration, but I will do what I need to do for the sake of my tournament. UD saying test, trying to see how laggy he is. Hopefully not out the yin-yang. His timer's really taking a beating here. I don't know. I'm inclined to think that he's having an internet problem more so than he's thinking about the situation here. I don't think there's too much thought. I don't think he's going to go to Swampert here because of the fear of HP Grass. I don't know. Well, I lied. He does go to Swampert, but I don't know what his other options are, of course, with the 3 hidden pokes. UD's back in action. Here we are. I'm surprised that he goes to Pert. It's not guaranteed to have HP Grass. Like I said, it could be like Crunch Pursuit Flamethrower Ice Beam, or Crunch Pursuit Flamethrower Roar, or Focus Punch, or Brick Break. It doesn't have to have Grass, but like there's enough of a shot to where I'd be iffy about making this switch, but you know, UD sees it differently, and he was comfortable, and maybe he was right, because ABR got out of the way, which certainly would indicate that T-Tower does not have HP Grass. So there you go. Maybe UD's right and I'm wrong. Would not be the first or the last time. This does appear to be what I thought it was for UD. Just boom spammy, meta, wheezing, lax. All of those probably have boom. What he's booming down to, not so clear. Like I said, last poke, pick a winner. Salamence, Raikou, Titar, Gyarados, whatever sweeper it may be. Blissey on Lax is notoriously a match that Lax dominates unless Blissey has counter, which she might. We just saw the Lax for the first time, so we don't know what its deal is, but we do know that it's got immunity. Toxic doing nothing there. No thick fat on that Lax. Very, very fit. Here comes Gengar, and there is the Earthquake. That was probably attempting to hit Meta or T-Tar as it comes in. Instead, it blanks on the levitating Gengar. Whether or not it is Shadow Ball, I don't know. But Will-O-Wisp looks like a tricky move for UD's team. Yes, he does get a Shadow Ball off anyway, and it still does a decent amount of damage because Lax hits hard, and Gengar is not the bulkiest poke in the world. But nevertheless, that was an underwhelming Lax. He traded with the already low Scarm, the 20% Scarm, who cares? And he did get some damage off on Gengar, but I mean, overall, I don't know. It wasn't the worst Lax I've ever seen. I've seen him blow into thin air, but that guy could have done more damage, certainly. ABR definitely still with the lead at this time. Blissey coming back in, as does Swampert. We've seen Hydro Pump Earthquake. Maybe we've got an off-Pert here. Endeavor Pert, I mean, we already know that it is lefties, but it couldn't be Endeavor Pert anyway because it never carries Earthquake. So we're looking at either an off-Pert here, or it could just be Hydro Pump Earthquake Ice Beam Protect. Basically, the difference is whether or not it is Focus Punch. And on a turn like this, that's going to come into play in a big way. If UD goes Focus Punch thinking correctly that Blissey is going to go Soft Boil, that's a huge play. I don't think ABR should walk into that. Now, granted, it might not be an off-Pert. It might just be 3 attacks plus Protect, but I don't know. Soft Boiled here is sketchy for ABR. I mean, best case, he's probably just going to eat another 38% Earthquake, right? And risk a chance of a crit. Worst case, he's going to get punched in the, I was going to say balls, but Blissey doesn't have those, so I guess boobs, and get nailed with that Focus Punch. But he's going to stay in Soft Boiled, and UD gets out of the way. So that would certainly indicate that he does not have Focus Punch. So it's probably a 3 attack plus Protect Swampert would be my guess. Will-O-Wisp coming here, T-Tar coming in, and HP Fighting. That's going to nail him for 80%. Great little surprise move there. ABR going to be less than thrilled with that. So this Wheezing here can I can threaten the T-Tower offensively. I don't know how much that does to Bliss, but I mean, it's got to do something. And yeah, the Weezing is actually going to knock out the T-Tower 1v1. How about that? You don't see that every day, but the one-on-one winner in this matchup is the fucking Weezing, taking out the best poke in the tier. That's a nice one for UD. And he gets himself back to a 4-on-4 situation. There's 3 on reveals between them. 2 of them belong to UD, 1 for ABR. Gengar comes in looking for the revenge kill, and right now, again, 2 on reveals, but right now there doesn't seem to be a great switch in for UD. Certainly not the Swampert, unless he's absolutely certain that the Gar doesn't have a grass attack, and the Weezing, if it were to stay in here, which I don't know that I would. I think he has a decent shot to sneak the Weezing in later against the Blissey or the Meta. But we'll see what UD decides to do. But if the Weezing stays in, it will just die to a Thunderbolt here without an issue. Or an Ice Punch, or a Fire Punch, whatever it is. Almost anything the Gengar throws at it here would get him. Now, it's possible that ABR overpredicts and goes Will-O-Wisp here or something, and the Weezing gets off a free whatever attack. We haven't actually seen anything other than WoW and HP Fighting. But any actual meaningful attack here from ABR and from Gengar will knock out the Weezing. And it is, again, UD taking the time. I feel a little bit bad, but because of the disconnect, he has less time than he, air quotes, should have. He should have an extra minute to think here that he doesn't have because of the disconnect. That's crappy. I do feel bad about that, and I hope that doesn't force him into a rush decision that he otherwise wouldn't make. But I guess that's the nature of the beast sometimes. We are going to keep playing, and ABR does not try to hide it or bluff at it. He goes straight for the grass attack into Swampert. Good old Giga Drain. He's going to hit Aerodactyl instead, and potentially relevantly now, he gets the Giga Drain crit. That may mean that he lives attacks that he otherwise wouldn't have lived, but UD is now going to go straight Rock Slide. 15% on meta, which is left at 14%, but he shows he's got Protect. He's now out of Rock Slide range. This is a tough turn for UD. I don't know that I like the Swampert switch because that could have been a boom there from ABR to take out the Swampert. UD does not play around that, however. And Meta's getting itself healthy with lefties all the way back from the red, now to 32%. Blissey comes in at this point, and so does Weezing. Nice switch from UD. Now going to have an opportunity to do something with Weezing, which the sand tells us is faster. And there is the Weezing. Blowing in the nurse's face. It feels so good. And that is, in fact, the nickname for UD. Make me feel good all over the nurse's face. And we've got ourselves a 3-3 situation. There's our answer. What was he trying to boom down to? He's booming down to a Tar. That is a DD Tar, as confirmed by this taunt that is going to block the Dragon Dance. So it's an aggressive team from UD. It's 3 boomers into the Aerodactyl Cleaner and the DD Sweeper. So it's double rocks, which usually has spikes, but instead we are looking at 3 boomers into a spikeless double rock team for UD. So Gengar, after preventing the Dragon Dance, goes for the Giga Drain into the T-Tar. Rock Slide comes down. It's a crit, which, I mean, 99%, you would think that crit all but certainly mattered. It would be the weakest, frailest Gengar ever for it to not matter. And I mean, it's WoW Tauntgar, so it was almost certainly bulky. So yeah, the Rock Slide crit mattered there. It's going to leave us in a 2-3. The arrow's really dangerous now. I think UD has probably got this game won. I think ABR is probably in some trouble here. There's a couple theoretical last pokes. Like if he has a DD Mence, he manages to get a DD off. He can kill both the Arrow and the Tyranitar from their current health. And then it would be a 1v1 against the Swampert, who's at 50%. 1 crit, 1 flinch, whatever. Can turn the tide. So there are things ABR can have here to still win. Like I said, last poke Gyra, last poke Swampert, or Salamence rather. Gyra would actually be even better because it just doesn't lose to Swampert 1v1 the way that Salamence does because of the 4x ice weakness. But let's see it play out. It's not going to be Gyra without Mag, without something really good against Skarm. It could still be Salamence though. No, it's Aerodactyl. Yeah, I don't think that's good enough. I'm looking at the options here. Even if he had killed the T-Tar there, I don't know that the Rock Slides are going to be enough. Not only would he have to win the speed tie against the other Aerodactyl, but against Swampert that we know for certain has Protect, I don't think he gets there. So it's going to be UD taking game one, and ABR, who not all that long ago, earlier today, in fact, because like I said, and it's going to be way later on YouTube because I'm still waiting on people to send me round 4 narrations. But in real time, this is all happening Sunday night. So literally earlier today, I narrated ABR against Roro live. That was only 7 hours ago, call it. 7 hours ago, ABR was in the winner's bracket sitting pretty. And now here we are 7 hours later, and ABR needs to win back-to-back games, or he is not just in the lower bracket, but out of the tournament. This is how quickly things can and do change in tournament play. This time, 7 hours ago, ABR was in the winner's bracket, hadn't dropped a game, just ready to start his round 4 series. Lost 2-0 to Roro, and now here he is down a game against UD. It is possible here that ABR simply drops 4 consecutive games to just crash and burn short of the money, which he made last year. He was our 3rd place finisher, had a nice little payday, and this year the payday is even better. We have the largest prize pool this year that we've ever had, currently sitting at $1,150, which is fantastic. Maybe, maybe not. We'll get more donations. I was going to say more narrations. Hopefully more narrations. More donations as the tour continues on. And maybe it'll get even bigger. But, I mean, the goal every year is to just be bigger and better than the previous year. We already did that here. This is already bigger than any of the other ones. It's the best pool we've ever had. If and when there's a Kalas Invitational 5, no promises. We'll see. But if this tour returns next year, then obviously the goal is 1151. Always want to do better than the year before. But here we are with the live narration, just waiting on the start of the next game. Don't know if there's anything to it. Don't want to click on Discord because I got some super private leak tactic conversations going on about the upcoming POCL auction. Significantly upcoming. They just opened signups today, so we're very early on. But if you guys know me, you know that I have been talking to players. I've already talked to like legit 20 people. Already got my list going. Already scheming, trying to get the best of the auction. Just how I roll. I want to win this damn thing. Waiting on the second game here. If it takes too long, I can go ahead and step in and ask them what the deal is here, but it's okay to give them a couple minutes. UD probably getting another beer. He is the beer lover after all, a shameless drunken degenerate. There we go. That didn't take too long. Here is the next game. So ABR is going to be on the bottom again. Keep them where they were for continuity. He's got a lead Flygon, which I hate. Let me just get that out there. But lead Flygon has been a thing this tour. Asta did it. Somebody else, I don't remember. Maybe Dragon did it. There's been a few lead Flygons in this tour, which, yeah, like I said, I'm not a fan, but a recent metagame trend, metagame resurgence is the lead Flygon. And this is not the start that ABR wanted whatsoever. He is going to Toxic into Salamence only to find a Magneton. Gonna get Thunderbolted, and he's gonna at least get a layer of spikes down. He says, I've lost, then he says hope. I don't think this is gonna be the hope that he's looking for, because if that's a non-magnet Magneton, meaning it's got lefties, the reason that it probably has lefties is because he doesn't need to kill Skarm because there's a spinner in the back. I predict that UD has a spinner. Whether it's specifically Doll or not, I don't know, but I bet you there's a spinner in the back. And yeah, I kind of thought this would be the Steelix team the second I saw the Toxic from the Salamence, so I think that's a lead Wishmance for UD. This is an old school team and an old school archetype. But maybe it's just what the doctor ordered. We'll see. UD both games so far has been willing to bust out some weird shit. And game one it paid off, and maybe this game it will as well. He's got a very early lead once again, catching ABR's Skarm with a Magneton. And ABR perhaps not in the best place mentally right now. He might be a little discouraged, a little defeated. Like I said, he's dropped 3 games in this tour in a row. He's had a real bad day, and he knows that just 7 short hours ago, he was in a fantastic position to make money again in this tournament. And now, all of a sudden, things have crashed and burned very quickly, and he's in trouble. He might be out. Simple as that. He might be out with a 2-2 record, which is not what he wants. And yeah, that's what I predicted. It's Claydol. The fact that the Magneton wasn't bothering with Magnet, fact that he had lefties, that's because he ain't that damn worried about spikes. In fact, he's got a Claydol. Now, granted, it's trapped, it spins and gets crunched, so this might result in a 5-5 game. Big Earthquake on the way out? Nope, over prediction on Pursuit. He's got a crunch now, maybe UD can escape. Yep, and he goes for the crunch, or the Ice Beam, rather. And UD gets out of there scot-free, so UD escapes the trap. ABR not able to win the mind game and go for the Pursuit there. Rain Dance Coon, that's something we've seen a couple times in this tour. It's got the benefit, of course, of the weather change to support Pokemon that prefer sand not be there. This is an interesting take on an old team from UD. It's interesting. It's got surprise value, that's for damn sure. It is probably not what ABR was expecting here, and sometimes that's what wins in tournament play. So the T-Tar has shown Crunch Pursuit, Ice Beam. Don't know if it's last move Fire Blast or not. He's indicating that it's not, but that doesn't mean that it isn't. And he again goes Ice Beam here, so maybe we're looking at last move HP Grass, which is why he's not using Fire whatever into the Steelix. But he's repeatedly spamming Ice Beams here. Is ABR feeling desperate already? Is he already fishing for freezes? No, it's last move Roar. Very interesting. Crunch Pursuit Ice Beam Roar is the set for ABR, trying to abuse the spikes that, well, he doesn't have those anymore. But that was the intention of the Roar. Get the spike down with the Scarm, force stuff out, scare it out, and then go for the Roar and abuse it with the T-Tar. But the Spikes plan has been neutralized. UD busting out the Magdoll, the hard counter to the TSS, or at least it's supposed to be. I would argue that it is not as dominant in that matchup as people portray it to be, but that's a discussion for another day. The bottom line, ABR is in some trouble right now. ABR, again, for the second time in a row, has opted to play TSS, not faulting him for that. Great archetype, arguably the best archetype. But UD has come prepared for it both times. He boom spammed into it, and now he's got the Magdoll, which is a really tough matchup for it, supposedly. And it seems to be playing out in such a way where that is true. Now, ABR is chipping at some things. He's not dead by any means. The Steelix has some damage on it. The Claydol did have some damage on it, but managed to recover quite a bit. The Salamence, as we see coming in here, 61%. He's got some damage on it. The sand is not going anymore, but I was going to say it can be reestablished at any time, and here it is. And there is the wish from the Ments. So Mag at 100, Steelix at half, Celebi healthy, Claydol healthy, Coon healthy. Yeah, now Ment's healthy, so everything other than the Steelix is pretty spiffy for UD. ABR did get some chip damage in various places, but most of that has been undone, and we're back here. And continuous Ice Beams, and he has Crunch too. ABR is just desperately fishing for a freeze, and finally after 4 or 5 attempts he's going to find one. Then he's going to follow it up with a Crunch crit. ABR is doing what he needs to do. He knows he's behind, he's playing for luck, and boy does he get it. He gets a freeze and then a Crunch crit, and that is that. Down goes Coon. Just like that, ABR right back in this game. When you play for luck, sometimes you get it. Can't fault him. This is a tournament with over $1,000 real dollars, $11.50 on the line. When you're playing for money, when you're playing for something other than stupid pixels or just bragging rights, you do whatever the fuck you need to do to win. And ABR certainly lives by that philosophy. He knew he was behind, he knew he needed luck, so he started fishing for freezes, and he caught one. Will it be enough? I don't know. Now UD is going to get some luck with his own critical hit, taking out Tyranitar. He would have had to eat a big crunch there if he didn't get that crit, and maybe it matters because the doll doesn't have any damage on it now, whereas it would have before. This leaves us in a 4-4 situation. The Flygon for ABR is seeming more and more dangerous now, especially if this is a non-refresh Claydol. We don't know if it does or doesn't. But the Toxic and Earthquake combination, it looks like, for ABR has the potential to do some damage, assuming he's decent with his prediction. So I think Flygon is a real threat at this point. It's going to be tricky for both of them, depending on the situation, to make some switches, but Flamethrower here is not quite putting enough pressure on Celebi, but there's always the possibility of a crit, like right there, a timely crit would have killed that Celebi and swung this way in UD's favor. What's really awkward here is that the Celebi is faster than the Salamence. See, generally, Wishman's doesn't invest in speed at all. He very well might be something along the lines of max HP, max defense. If he is something close to that, then yeah, I mean, the Celebi just sitting at 240, 244, whatever he may be at, may even be faster than that because it's a substitute set. And he wants to get that up in front of status effects and such. He's just going to be faster than the Salamence. It's one of those rare times where Celebi outspeeds the nimble dragon, but it is relevant in this case. If the Salamence were faster, he'd be able to apply and potentially keep meaningful pressure with that Flamethrower. But he's not faster, so Celebi is pretty comfortably able to stall him out here if it comes to that. PP could begin being a factor here. It's not quite yet. We're not at that point just yet, but remember, this Celebi has no offense at all. The best thing he can do is he can Leech Seed something, or he can Baton Pass a substitute to somebody, but that's it. There's no Psychic. There's not even an HP Grass or an HP Fire to hit this Mence with. There is nothing other than Leech Seed. And I like this BP. I think the Flygon is a legit threat. We haven't actually seen anything from it, but if it has Toxic and Earthquake, that's a great combo here. It actually might be CB Flygon here that we're looking at. Based on how much damage that did, that was definitely HP Bug. And that's going to be a critical hit, which, remember, Intimidate did not happen because of the substitute. But the crit, obviously, is going to amplify the damage significantly. Nevertheless, the Wishman's going to be A-OK here. So the Flygon, while it is still a threat, is not as much of a threat as I thought it would be because it's not the, I don't want to say correct set, but it's not the optimal set for this situation for ABR. If he had a bulkier Earthquake Protect Toxic X Flygon, that I think would be an issue for UD here. CB Flygon still could be, but it's going to rely on ABR making correct predictions as opposed to just basically autopiloting if it were the other set. UD at least has some counterplay. So if he thinks it's Rock Slide, he's going to go to, Claydol. If he thinks it's HP Bug, he's going to go to Salamence. If he thinks it's Earthquake, he's going to go to Claydol or Celebi or Salamence, blah, blah. There's a lot of things that he could do. And more disconnect action, it seems. UD may have disconnected, reconnected. I'm not sure. They are... You can see down here what I see. They're ahead of us in real time. I don't actually know where we are. Looks like he disconnected and then very briefly and then reconnected and did a little lag test here. And they seem, like I said, to be ahead of us in real time. And it sucks that they're talking because they're kind of giving us spoilers. Somebody just ate something big, apparently, but we're not there yet. Don't ruin it for me. I don't want to see your GGs. No GGs yet, but we might be heading that way. Alright, here we go. What does the big fat eat? Is there an explosion here? Is it Leech Seed explosion or something along those lines, but the explosion doesn't kill? Swampert and Salamence. I don't know what the big fat eat was. They must be way the fuck ahead of us, but let's keep rolling with this narration and find out. The beauty of the live narration in action here. Pros and cons. That's why my awesome suggestion in the suggestion section of the Smogon forums would be the best of both worlds, the real-time replay speed. Check that out and give it a like. There we go. There's the big fat eat. Jesus. HP Grass, and then he eats it. Yeah, man, that was... He said big fat eat fucking 3 minutes ago. We are way behind, as it seems. Anyhow, back at it. Flygon gets in but doubles. And looks like that is the right play because Magneton scouted for the Choice Band move with Protect. It's now going to be Swampert protecting against Magneton, showing Hidden Power. That was the first time it used Hidden Power. We don't know what Hidden Power it is. Now we do. Not a bluff, it's Grass. Had that been Ice or Fire, it'd be super effective against Celebi. It was resisted, it's Grass. Boy, am I a detective. Alrighty, still 4-4. Salamence coming in. Leech Seed and Wish respectively. We could be in for a grind, just what I need after narrating all those other sets today. Well, that speeds things up a bit. Flamethrower going to land a crit on the Magneton. That puts ABR further against the wall. ABR is going to have to be pretty spotless with his CB Flygon. He is going to have to make some moves and get that CB Flygon to do some work, or he's going to be out of this tournament. ABR on the brink of disaster here. Might lose 4 consecutive games in one day in this tournament to go from hero to zero. Not counting him out, capable player. You don't make money in this tour as he did last year, or makes the finals of Smogon Classic as he did this year. Those things don't happen by accident. ABR is incredibly good. Is he good enough to come back in this game? Does he have the right combination of skill, resilience, and of course a little bit of luck to make this comeback? Right now, UD clearly in the driver's seat. Straight up 4-3 advantage, has a wish, has a way to grind out the game. If it goes really long, if this goes 200 plus turns, UD has a way to grind this out and eventually win. ABR does too, but 4-3 Pokemon advantage. If it gets into a PP stall, UD is going to get it. So ABR needs to find a way, needs to find the time, find the way to get that Flygon to do its thing. Thunderbolt coming down here. That was obviously aimed at the Celebi since both the Flygon and the Swampert are immune. Substitute coming down. Thunderbolt doesn't break it. Here's an opportunity. He can pass that sub to the Flygon and make a prediction. The problem is that we know the Magneton has Protects. This doesn't actually get him anywhere. He'll Protect, he'll scout the CB move, and that'll be that. Interesting, he doesn't bother protecting. UD anticipates the exact play that ABR made to go to Celebi, and he gets his Salamence in with it. That was just high level as fuck for both players. You could tell why these guys are where they are. That was a big, intelligent play for both guys. They both played that the high level way. UD gave himself an opportunity there to crit the Celebi and kill it, so UD gave himself an opportunity that a lot of players who would have just clicked Protect there would not have had. Unfortunately, the crit does not come for him, but it was great that he gave himself the shot there. That was a nice high-level play that he made. We are down to Celebi on Celebi as we approach turn 100. I haven't done 100-plus turns live in a while, so it's cool to get that in here. Going in for the grind, boys. And this might not even be the last game, like I said. If ABR finds a way to win this, which he could, it would send us to a good old Game 3. Salamence coming in. There's Intimidate. That blows for Celebi because if he Baton passes, he's taking that Intimidate with him. Underwhelming when a Choice Band poke, which is locked on a move, is at -1. But he's going to go to Swampert, and it's going to not get its sub broken. Here's an opportunity to do something. Swampert's safe behind the sub. He's shown us Toxic, Surf, Protect. We might be looking at a Mono Pert here, but between Surf and Toxic, he should be able to do something here. He goes for the Surf. That's going to do nothing to Celebi. 8%. Hidden Power Grass. We saw what that did earlier. It did about a bazillion %, even though Swampert at a hundo did eat it. Very well may have a special defense investment, being a Mono Pert and all. And Toxic there is thinking the Celebi is going to stay in. It doesn't. And Magneton, which also has HP Grass, as the Celebi does, is going to force him out yet again. ABR very resilient here. Not ready to die. The second Toxic lands on Flygon. Had he gone for that there. Oh, whoa. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Doesn't go for the Protect to scout the move, and I don't know why not. UD getting a little bit greedy here. Lets his Magneton go. I don't know why he didn't Protect there. All of a sudden, what was a 4-3 lead for UD is a 2-2 draw. I'm not clear why he didn't Protect there, but ABR's got to be happy about it. UD possibly effing up this late game here. ABR, window of opportunity. Now he sneaks the CB Flygon in on the Poison Celebi. There's a massive prediction opportunity here. Can you click Rock Slide? Or does he go for the HP Bug? He does click Rock Slide. 34% here. And we've seen the full set. We know this guy doesn't have Dragon Claw. The best thing he could do is Toxic. ABR here all of a sudden is looking like he's in a good position in this late game. Leech Seed's obnoxious, but is it enough? This can go either way now. UD could definitely still win, but There are bad things that can happen here. Rock slide crit, bam, that's the game. A lot of stuff that can happen here. This is going to be a tricky late game. It's closer than I think it needed to be. I can't believe on that turn, UD did not protect with the Magneton. He simply let it die to the CB Earthquake from Flygon. It leaves us in a 2-2, and we're still grinding. We're going to approach turn 120 here. Psychic gets shown here. Salament's coming down. Full sets of everything are known here, other than the Flygon, which, I mean, the last move, I'm sure we could figure out what it is. Only like 2 things that it could be. Toxic now landing on the Mence is actually absolutely huge. Mence does learn Refresh, believe it or not. A lot of people don't know that, but in this instance, he doesn't have it. So that's a real meaningful clock. And now Flygon comes in avoiding the Toxic. Things are getting real bad for UD, who I thought had the advantage in this late game. But I think ABR is probably sending us to a third game. Wish gets off. Flygon sneaks in. And there's a Protect, which, I mean, yes, he eats his own Wish, but he's still suffering from the poison here. Flygon Hidden Power Bug. I don't blame him. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. UD could sit in here and die to Toxic, or he could switch in Celebi to die to HP Bug. Kind of surprised that ABR doesn't go for it again there. I certainly think that I would have. There's the kill. I'm seeing GG. Are we going to a game 3? I believe that we are. Here comes Flygon. HP Bug twice should end this, and I don't know what Celebi could do. He's going to try to stall out the Hidden Power Bugs, but they do way too much damage. No! What? Oh my. Oh my. 1 turn window for UD to find a crit, and he finds it. Goes for Psychic, finds the crit, needed the crit. Without that, the Flygon is totally fine, clicks HP Bug again, and sends us to a game 3. But just like that, an arrow to the knee. UD snipes out ABR. He has the 1 turn window to find the crit, and he finds it. God, he wouldn't have even had another turn. He would have just died to the sand. Never mind another HP Bug. He literally would have died at the end of the turn to the sand. ABR takes it like a good sport. You guys can see the chat just as I can. Good about it, polite, not complaining, not raging, but what a dagger. What a way to be eliminated, and what a crash and burn as a whole for ABR. Like I said, just 7 short hours ago, he had 0 match losses in this tournament, and ABR has proceeded to lose 4 games in a row in 1 day, in 7 hours. 0-2 to Roro, 0-2 to UD, and from hero to 0, just like that, last year's 3rd place finisher, ABR, is out. UD, clutch. A very well-trained Celebi lands the critical hit Psychic at the very, very last moment. The one and only opportunity to get him with Psychic, and he gets him where it hurts when it counts. That one's got a sting for ABR. He is out of here, and UD will stay alive in the lower bracket. What a series, and what a way to end my night. If you guys were as entertained and, I mean, shocked by that finish, just as I was, please do leave me a thumbs up. Please do leave me a comment. I'd love to hear what you think. What an ending. UD 2, ABR 0. That's all she wrote. See you guys next time.